Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Slight update on the shooting at the college in Texas where 14 people were injured, and this was at Lone Star College's Cy-Fair campus in the Houston area. Two are in critical condition of the 14 people who were hurt. Two refused medical attention, and police say there's a 21-year-old white male that is in custody. And we'll keep you updated as we get more details. Joining us now, though, as we turn our attention to North Korea, and I don't know, is it just so blasé, so expected, so laissez-faire to say the upcoming launch by North Korea tomorrow, the upcoming attempt at an attack? I don't even know what to call it, but maybe Gordan Chang, Far East expert and author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World, joins us. And Gordan, thank you so much for being with us, sir.
Thank you.
Well, we kind of are expecting something to happen probably tomorrow. What could we expect?
Well, some people expect that the North Koreans will launch one or two of their mobile missiles that have been positioned somewhere on their east coast. Now, these are thought to be Musadans, which are the longest-range missile that has been actually deployed, but the launch could come later. I'm not so sure that we know the exact launch date, but clearly they will do something because they've been on a bender recently with all these provocative acts, saber-rattling, threats, you name it.
A steady progression of everything that you just mentioned taking place over the past, I don't know, two and a half weeks, 3 weeks. They're not backing down. Today, the latest is telling everybody in South Korea who could get out, foreigners, tourists, get out because there's going to be nuclear war. I mean, how do they get out of this? In other words, they're threatening and threatening and threatening, and images everything to the South Korean leadership and even image within his own military. So how does he threaten nuclear war and then not go ahead with any of it?
That's, of course, of great concern because nobody really knows the answer to that question. But it's not just the threats that we need to be concerned about because there has, of course, been a lot of saber rattling in the past. But what happened in the last 24 hours is of concern. And the reason is that South Koreans 5-6 days ago told everybody that they never thought that the North Koreans would close the Kaesong industrial complex, which is this zone just north of the demilitarized zone, which separates North and South Korea. Well, within the last 24 hours, the North Koreans withdrew their 53,000 workers from the zone. Now, this zone accounts for something between 5 to 7% of North Korea's gross domestic product. And so what they're doing now is going beyond just words. They're doing things that they're obviously accepting great punishment. And if they're willing to do that, then the question is, what else are they willing to do?
Right, very counterproductive to the economy and how do they, once they withdraw them, I mean, it's not so easy to just bring them all back. So you're right. I mean, I believe that we have great reason to be concerned. This is nothing like we've seen from the father, in the past maybe 20 years leading up to this point. We've had the rhetoric, we've had the provocative statements, we've had the launches, we've had the tests, but we've always known what to expect. We have always known what they were after, and we've always known, I mean, it became predictable if they'd pick a date with significance either to them or to us, a holiday for us or an anniversary for them, something, and do something, and they wanted food. But this is a heck of a way to go about it if you want to sit down and get food from us.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Kim Jong-un, the current ruler, is that he's 29 years old, inexperienced. He may not know where the line is. Now, his father and grandfather, the two previous rulers of North Korea, they reached out and killed Americans and South Koreans, but they knew how to do it without inviting retaliation. And so essentially, they knew how far they could push us. Now, Kim Jong-un, unfortunately, may not know where that line is, and that line may have shifted as the region around him has become more volatile. So, for instance, the South Korean military has just become sick and fed up of accepting blow after blow from North Korea without retaliating, and so the South Koreans are primed to attack. They're just waiting for an opportunity to kill North Koreans, and so this has become a very dangerous situation.
We're talking, by the way, right now we are to Gordan Chang, Far East expert, author of Nuclear Showdown. North Korea takes on the world here on the Steve Malzberg Show. At thecable.com, Josh Rogan wrote a piece today about a secret meeting that took place between U.S. and North Korean representatives held in March. State Department Special Envoy and the North Korea's Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations met just before the North began its latest string of provocative statements. So do you know anything about that meeting? And boy, it probably didn't go too well if it's true and it precipitated everything that we've been talking about for the past month.
Well, the Obama administration has had a number of secret meetings with the North Koreans. So, for instance, last year, the White House sent envoys on 2 separate occasions to Pyongyang to talk to the North Koreans, and we did this without notifying our allies in the region. Both times they were rebuffed. Also, last year, the president's team came up with the so-called Leap Day deal with the North Koreans regarding missiles and nukes, and the North Koreans repudiated that just 2 weeks afterwards. And so clearly this secret diplomacy, which has continued, has not borne fruit. And I think the problem is that the North Koreans believe that they can push us around, but also because the North Korean regime right now is in such disarray that they very well may be willing to risk everything, because Kim Jong-un realizes that he may not survive this series of provocations.
Well, when you say risk everything, what would a U.S. response be, do you believe? I mean, some say that it was provocative for us to have flown those stealth nuclear bombers, and that forced him into a corner. But I mean, he was doing things before that happened, and then we did cancel the California test that launch that we were going to have, I believe, this week, because we didn't want to appear to be provocative, and we didn't want to give him more reason. But if I mean, what are the lines here? What could North Korea do, and how would we respond? I mean, if they launch an attack on South Korea, are we all in? If they launch something at Japan, or the same thing, and I mean, Guam, the same thing. I mean, how could we avoid conflict? It seems like any option except lobbing something that lands in the sea, like they usually do, is going to be a problem.
Well, we're probably all in if there's going to be an all-out attack against us or our allies. But the North Koreans probably wouldn't do that because they know that they would face massive retaliation. What they could do, and this is what's really dangerous, is a low-level attack on South Korea, some sort of terrorist incident where it would be unclear who actually launched it. And so what we're worried about are these low-level incidents spiraling out of control, because the South Koreans will retaliate, and they may retaliate with more than just a normal response. It may not be a proportionate response. So clearly this could spiral downwards very quickly, of a series of unintended consequences.
Gordon, one more for you, and you've been very generous with your time. What about a cyber attack? I was talking to somebody yesterday who said that, we tend to think of North Korea as the country that can't, bunch of, inepts, et cetera, militarily and otherwise in many respects, but that when it comes to cyber sophistication, they are very sophisticated. They have a whole bunch of people set aside to do just that. And there were some reports out earlier in the week about the threat of a cyber attack by North Korea launched against us and maybe some of our allies as well.
Well, the North Koreans did launch a cyber attack about 10 days or so ago against South Korean banks, and that was just the last in a series of cyber attacks going back over a couple years. So the North Koreans are very good at doing that. We can expect them to do it again. What we're much more concerned about is a kinetic attack where they actually kill South Koreans or Americans in a low-level provocative event.
Well, Gordon, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Gordon.